Okay, we're going to make some trees. This jig here is a 6-inch rule. We've got a 3-inch wide piece of timber. It's clamped in here, a couple of screws to clamp it onto a cleat. The distance I've got a nail in there at an angle with the head removed, and the distance down there to the end is about 9 inches. So this is going to be about a 9-inch pine tree that we're going to make. Got a clamp on the end here that just pivots on there, and all this is doing is holding this wire. So this wire, we cut it at a length and we wrap it around the end up there. One goes there, clamp it. That's not moving anywhere. This wire, swing it out the way over there, and then that's holding. Now we get the garden twine. You get this from Kmart or whatever. The wire comes from Kmart as well. It's a green wire and it's nice and flexible. It's a garden wire. Laying these bits of twine down, twisting them, let them spin out is the trick to getting a good looking tree and making the work flow easier for you rather than fighting it. You'll see in a minute when I've got to brush this one down. Laying the fibres across like this, any old way. You can see this row down here I've got from thin, wider and then very wide for the base. So you'll see this pattern in a second when I finish doing all this. We'll lay these down. Doesn't take long, and you'll see how quick it is to make a pine tree. The finished pine trees, Jerry's taking this video, and he's taken some video of the layout, so you see the finished trees on the layout. These wider ones, what you've got to do is you've got to put more of the wider ones down the bottom and fill it up, because there's more foliage and branches at the bottom of the tree than there is at the top, naturally. Now these wider ones, just spreading the fibres out as much as you can. We'll brush these in a minute. I'll show you how that's done. And just give them a spin, drop them in. I pack up the bottom of my trees a bit, because you can trim these with scissors afterwards if you've got too much, but if you don't have enough on, well, it's too late to put some more on. The green fibre, well, you can use green spray paint. Some of the guys on the websites I've been talking to, they're just using a flat acrylic green paint. So if you didn't have this, you just buy some rope. Go and buy a metre of 3/4 inch sisal rope, sisal or manila twine. You can see the twine's got a little bit of flex in it. You've got to have that, and the wire's going to be twisted on this in a sec. A couple more, and a couple more down the bottom. You've got to get this bottom part a little bit thicker, and you see I don't have to get them equal, just whack it on. If you're even splitting some, half that side and half that, with enough that the wire's going to crunch on that in a second. And alright, we'll give this one a go, and I'll show you what it looks like. Now there's this second wire comes down. There's 2 nails here that's just holding that. Just hold that there back. Second one goes on that, and there we go. I just give those a little bit of a twist, and we put the drill. Don't use an electric drill because you'll twist your arm off. Just use a cordless drill, and you've got good control. And I'll show you why we've got that nail up there at an angle now. Now bring that in. It just starts to grab. Now I've got enough meat there, I can just drop that a bit, lift that up. Now there's the spin. And you can see it all starting to turn into a tree. Righto. Back that off. There's your tree. One tree. Now that's not even bad the way it is. You can make a bunch of those for backdrop trees. But you can just see how that's working there now. Now the next trick, we get a wire brush. I've just got a nice 4 wide brush. And those fibres that we didn't get out, well, we're just combing this now. So I go that way, grab the tip, and go back the other way. Now you can see you get the slopes differently, and all I do there is just rough this up. Now the top part of that we just snip off. It's got the loop in it. So you just snip a bit of that off. Now we've got to trim the tree to give it the taper. I like trimming this in close at the top, because when you get the foliage on, it's going to hide all of this and you're not going to see that armature. So the taper on that, if you can see that pretty well, you get that taper in. You can trim the rest of the tree there then. I'm working fast here, a little bit faster than I normally do, trying to save Jerry's film. Okay, this bottom part, I'll just work that by hand. I'll show you the stumps I've made that this will go into in a second. Now we get the shape. You want a little bit of that tapered shape. Too many trees get too round at the top and they're too wide. You need to bring them in to make them look a bit better for models side of things. Okay, there's our tree. Now we're going to start putting some foliage on. Different sorts of foliage. I've been experimenting with a few, so I'll show you the fibre ones that the Heike do now. There's a Noki, or you can get Heike as well. These are these tiny fibres. Rather than using ground foam, they're a tiny fibre. Now that's a dark green, which is your conifer green for pines and that. You start off with your dark colour. I've put some into a shaker that I've made, drilled a few holes in the top of it there, so there's my shaker. I'll load her up. Okay, so this is fine, and then there's another colour I've got, which is a lighter green, a mid green, and that's the same. Very fine fibres in that. They seem pretty easy to work with, and that, as long as I don't seem to see a need for a dust mask using this, but you may want to think about that. So I've got a couple of shakers. One's got the dark, one's got the medium in it there, and I'll show you the last colour that we do. So first thing we've got to do is get some Seedle, extra fine hairspray for hard nut to hold. I think I paid about $4 for that can. So all we've got to do there now is holding the tree that way. I'm going to get the dark foliage underneath, because the lighter foliage is going to be on top, which the sun shines onto in the new growth. So giving this a good dose of hairspray, and you can see the little bubbles of the hairspray starting to form on the sisal. That's what we're after. We can always come back and trim some of this up. Shaker, and here we go. So here's your first lot of foliage going on there now. Whack her on. I do this over a box so I can save the foliage. So because there's a lot of excess falling away here. Even though it's outdoors, there's no wind today. So you get this dark one on first. Now this dark one's very important, because the texture and the lighting in your layout room, you're going to need the tree to have highlights to give it the depth. Okay, there's the first part of it there done. Not a lot, but it's just enough on it there. And it's all on the underneath. And you can see the top side, you can still see some fibres, yet the underside we're getting covered.